My name is Luca Kassab, and welcome back to Fresh on Clips. So the Los Angeles Clippers finished the year 50 and 32, good enough to get them the 5 seed in the NBA Western Conference. And honestly, if you had told me before the season that this is where we were going to end up, I wouldn't have believed you. As many of you know, as a lot of people have clowned me for, Clippers were predicted to be my 11 seed, meaning that they'd miss the play-in, completely miss the playoffs, and give OKC a lottery pick. But guess what? The Clippers outdid my expectations, the expectations of the whole of the NBA, many others. James Harden, another floor rising season. And that 5 seed gets them a matchup with the number 4 seed Denver Nuggets. Both teams finished 50 and 32. Denver was 21st in defensive rating, 4th in offensive rating, while the Clippers were 3rd in defensive rating and 15th in offensive. We have one of the top offensive teams against one of the top defensive teams. And honestly, this is a very interesting matchup for both sides. For the Nuggets, they get to play against a team that's pretty hot, while they've been kind of cold. They just fired Mike Malone, who it kind of made no sense. And now they have to play against a Clippers team who have won 18 of their last 21 and have been the number one offense since Kawhi got off a minute limit while still remaining a top 7 defense. On the other hand, the Clippers, they have to play against the team they blew a 3-1 lead against in 2020 in the bubble, but also against the best player in the world in Nikola Jokic. So the season series 2-2 both ways. Clippers winning the first. And honestly, we weren't even supposed to have 4 games against them. It was this stupid plan, which actually gave them home court advantage. It gave one more home game for Denver against us, obviously. But we were only supposed to have 3 games, and we were up 2-1 to that point. So something to think about. Nothing too crazy though. So anyone who watched the playoff predictions with my boy Chris Rod saw I have the Clippers in 7. So let's talk first about Denver. They have Nikola Jokic, the best player in the sport, and less depth. But my philosophy is if you have a top 3 guy, so if you have a Jokic, you have a Giannis, or you have a Shea, then you're automatically in contention for an NBA championship. Jokic on the year probably won't win MVP, which sucks because he averaged 30, 13, and 10, shot well from the field, and led a team that should not have been a 4 seed to the 4 seed. Some interesting things about the Jokic matchup for us is that against the Clippers, in the 4 games we played, he only had 11 total post-ups. Zoo, best defensive player against Jokic, and it kind of shows with that stat. It shows that Zubac is physical enough to stay with Jokic, and it shows that there is a sense of fear that comes with Zubac guarding Jokic. And something the Clippers did all season in all 4 matchups was when Zoo was on the court guarding Jokic, he was on an island. They were willing to let Jokic go for 50 for all they care. They wanted to clamp everyone else up, but they would also make some changes in blitzing off the screen, blitzing Jokic. And when Zoo was off the court, which is something that, in my opinion, will be big with us having no true backup center, it's a mix of Batum, DJJ, and Ben Simmons. It's going to be big that we do blitz Jokic when those screens come. We blitz Jamal Murray when the Jokic screen comes. Make his life more difficult to get the ball. When Zoo is guarding him, though, let's play him straight up because Zoo's a good defensive player, and Zoo did take a step. He's the anchor of the third best defense and going to be all defensive for a reason. Now, let's talk Jamal Murray real quick. The second star on this Nuggets team. Had a rough year, had a lot of injuries, came back for the last game after missing the 4 before that. And he's just a known playoff riser. Anyone who was a Clipper fan during the bubble saw the 50 piece he put on us, how good of a playoff run he had. But in his career in the playoffs, he's averaging 24.2 points, 5 boards, and 6.2 assists. So he is a playoff riser. He gets better, and we've seen the clutch gene in him. Just look at last year's games against the Lakers. 2 games with game winners or buzzer beaters. Christian Brown, in my opinion, the most improved player in the NBA, also on this Denver team, starting with Michael Porter Jr., still a good scorer, still an elite 3-point shooter, and Aaron Gordon, good defensive player. But their bench depth is where I really do question this team. Russell Westbrook, Peyton Watson, Julian Strother, who are both younger, unproved players. Westbrook has been on playoff teams, but he has fallen short in the postseason, and that's going to be an advantage we have. Just remember, shot 4 for 32 last year for the Clippers in the postseason. And then DeAndre Jordan is their backup center, and Jalen Pickett, that guy too. The guy who got Mike Malone fired, I guess. Denver's lack of depth is something that I do think helps us in the long run because we do have our depth between our starting five with DJJ, Nico, Ben Simmons, Bogdanovich, all coming off the bench. So it's going to be interesting to see in that aspect. Let's move to the Clippers, though, who have won 18 of their last 21, as I said. Kawhi Leonard over his last 10, averaging 26, 7, and 4, while shooting 50, 50, 85. His defense has been great after, guys like Stan Van Gundy saying that it's fallen. And he's just showing that he is still the player he was a year ago. He's actually better right now than he was the past 2 years, in my opinion. So, Kawhi, another guy who's a playoff riser, in my opinion, the biggest playoff riser in all of basketball. He also has that same Jokic effect where if he's playing, automatically boosts your odds at a championship. Norm Powell, another guy we want to talk about. He's actually been better this year from three and just for the field in general without Kawhi Leonard. So we need to see, Ty Lue, if you're listening, I would love to see that first stretch of the second quarter where usually it's Kawhi. Let's play Kawhi the whole first. Let's get James Harden some early rest. And let's give Norm and Harden the floor to start the second quarter because Norm needs those minutes. He averages 24 a game when Kawhi doesn't play on 44 from three, 18 a game when Kawhi plays on 38. 6% difference. That's the difference between an elite shooter and a great shooter. Norm Powell needs more reps without Kawhi Leonard, and he needs to understand that he can't put the ball on the ground. He doesn't need to be the one to take every shot. He can get someone else a good look by driving downhill. Because having Norm Powell as a fourth option shows how good of a team we are, and it shows the level we can play at. That was shown through the Golden State game because they couldn't sag off. They couldn't send two at Zoo because they have Norm Powell there. Let's talk about the biggest player in this series, though, James Harden. It's a guy who, again, one of, if not the greatest floor raisers in basketball, has never missed the playoffs. But a fun fact that I came along on Twitter today, shout out Darian Dime Dropper for this fact. He only has one upset in his entire NBA career, and it was the 2012 Western Conference Finals. Every other series he's ever won has been him as the higher seed. And let's not talk about the choking allegations. Off the top of my head, Game 3, 2015, Game 4, no, yeah, Game 4, Game 2, and Game 6 of 2023 against Boston. 2016 against Spurs, Game 6, he had 10 points in an elimination game. And 2017, Game 4, Western Conference Finals, an efficient game. And that's just off the top of my head. Imagine if I went and looked up some numbers. James Harden is a known playoff choker. He was good enough last year, but not the greatest still. And he needs to understand that this is his best chance at a ring. He's known that. We've seen it. So why don't we continue to play that way? Continue to be the unselfish facilitator. Because at the end of the day, what's going to win us this series is Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, and Ivica Zubac. If James Harden plays unselfishly, creates for others, continues to be a lob threat, and just plays the game the right way, doesn't jack up threes, doesn't force shots out of the pick and roll, continues to play as a facilitator, we are winning this series. But if we get this James Harden who's shooting 16 shots and only scoring 10 points, that is the James Harden that will lose us a game, will lose us a series by itself. Continue to run through Zoo. We get good looks. The Zoo Harden pick and roll has been the most efficient thing in basketball this year. So let's run through it. Let's make Jokic, who's been a terrible defender for his entire career, but especially this year. Let's make him defend because how is he stopping the Zoo pick and roll? No defending. Who's guarding Kawhi Leonard in this series? Aaron Gordon? Stop it, man. He's a good defender, but he's nothing crazy. He cannot stop Kawhi Leonard. So how about this? How are we matching our guards up? Jamal Murray? Who's guarding Norm? Who's guarding Harden? Harden, Dunn, Norm Powell, Kawhi, Zoo. You can hide someone on defense by putting them on Chris Dunn. So Jokic is guarding Zoo. Kawhi is being guarded by Aaron Gordon. Michael Porter on Norm, barbecue chicken. Okay? And then you throw Christian Brown on Harden, barbecue chicken. And Chris Dunn can have Jamal Murray. Okay. Leave Chris Dunn open. That's what teams have been doing. He's shooting 34% from three. He's shooting over 40 in the last 10. Keep doing it. Let's see what happens. Let's note the bench depth for the Clippers. Very great. And it's good shooters off the bench, too. The Batum rule, yes, he is active tomorrow, which is going to be awesome. The Batum role is going to be huge because he will truly be our backup five. Batum has been playing eased up minutes all year, but you've seen in this last stretch, he's gone up in minutes per game. He's up to 16 to 17, and I'm telling you, it's going to go up from there. Nico Batum is an elite three-point shooter, elite catch-and-shoot guy, and an elite glue guy. Good defensive player, will hustle on the ball. If you put him on Jokic, he can give you good minutes guarding Jokic on the perimeter, putting pressure on him. Bogdanovich, while he was a cone in that one game against Golden State, that was a fluke. He's shooting 40% from three as a Clipper. He's actually a very solid shot creator, and he hustles on the defensive end. He has to continue to do that. Derrick Jones Jr., 36% from three. Good spark plug off the bench. Another option to throw to Jamal Murray. Because Chris Dunn's going to be guarding Jamal Murray. We're putting Jamal Murray in the dungeon. Derrick Jones Jr., he could be that second guy. When Dunn's out of the game, let's throw DJJ and his length on him. If not, let's disrupt a guy like Michael Porter Jr., take him out of rhythm by putting a lanky guy on him. And Ben Simmons, he needs to look to score. That's been the problem. He catches the ball, he doesn't look at the basket. Because when he attacks downhill, yes, he can feed someone else. But if he goes up, he scores two layups. All of a sudden, the defense has to play him like an actual scorer. Play him in a way that they may assume that he's going up. So, my prediction, Clippers in 7. Denver is a very hard place to win in. The altitude's a big thing, but the Clippers have been there since Wednesday. The Intuit Dome's going to be hard to win in. So I'm telling you, if it goes this way, we're going Clippers in 7 in a hard-fought 7 games with Russell Westbrook being the reason that the Denver Nuggets lose. The same way the Clippers have lost the last 2 years because of a lack of health, obviously. But Westbrook not being good enough, missing chippies, missing layups, as we saw in that Minnesota game. Let's see. It's going to be Westbrook's fault they lose. And it's going to come down to Jokic having a lack of depth. And I don't see a coach who's coached 3 games this year. I don't see him upsetting Ty Lue with Jeff Van Gundy on the staff. Brian Shaw, both great assistant coaches. Let's get it. Clippers in 7. And we'll have post-game for every game. So don't worry. Let's go Clips.
Clippers bring it in. 5 seconds to go. Tie game. Seatbelts are fastened. Lou Williams for the win. Bingo!
Oh my goodness.
God, he got it! 1 second left. Clippers by 2.
The 3 for the tie. Oh my goodness. I don't believe what